Did you ever watch a TV series and when it came to the last episode of the season, you sat back and said, that was perfect? Well, we are at the end of the book of Exodus right now, and we had an action-packed season. Very brief recap. We started out with the Exodus from Egypt. We received the Ten Commandments and Torah from Mount Sinai, and we're ending with the opening of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, basically the precursor to the synagogue. This week's parsha is actually a double parsha. Why a double parsha? Why two of them? Well, even I don't need a calculator to know that we have 54 chapters and 48 weeks. Remember, we're on a lunar calendar. So we have to double up 6 times. This happens to be the first time this year where we do double up. So a few chapters are devoted to the Mishkan. We actually heard about the Mishkan last week from the 6th graders. The Mishkan was built to be portable. It was built to be disassembled and reassembled at the next stop in the desert. But the parsha ends with Vayichas te'anan et ohel moed ukvod Adonai malei et hamishkan. U'he'alot he'anan me'al hamishkan yisu b'nei Yisrael b'chol masehem. V'im lo ye'aleh ha'anan lo yisu ad yom he'alato. The cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the presence of God filled the tabernacle. When the cloud lifted from the tabernacle, the Israelites would set out on their various journeys. But if the cloud did not lift, they would not set out until such time as it did lift. Well, and what would make my old Hebrew school teachers surely jump for joy, I recall that Vayakhel, the name of the parsha, has its root word with kehillah, community. Now, we know kehillah works when it brings people together. We want to feel like we're really a part of it. We want to be able to sit back and say, I helped build this. And I'd have to say we do have community here. We've made our community. And in the past year, we've remade our community. Just as we've needed to physically distance when we have so needed community, we have been actually very lucky that in this age of COVID, we've been able to pivot to virtual services seemingly overnight. As other parts of our personal and professional lives have also shifted online. This week is actually 1 year exactly. So is our community strong? Well, how strong? We found that we're certainly linked locally, but with Zoom, there's actually no limit. Now, I've seen in the comments on this Facebook page, I've seen greetings from Maryland, from Florida, and New York, and places all around the United States. But I think more importantly, it's a sign that we need each other. So how does this pertain to the Mishkan? I imagine the cloud over the Mishkan is like the COVID cloud over us. As the verses noted, when the cloud lifted, we would set out on our various journeys. But if the cloud did not lift, we would not set out until such time as it did lift. Most of us have been waiting for the COVID cloud to lift so we can see family, be it children, parents, grandchildren. And for many of us, our Jewish community is really centered around the synagogue. It's where we have b'nai mitzvah, weddings, brisses, baby namings. And it's where we also share in the loss for those sitting Shiva. There's a quote I have heard, not mine, and I wish I could give it proper attribution. But it's a Jewish community is a place where we gather to become known to other Jews and to our Jewish selves. But we're also a congregation that thrives on inclusion and equity. I think we're doing what we can to poke holes in that cloud. We have a medical advisory committee who have done a masterful job, telling us what limits are reasonable and what makes sense. Our religious school teachers have shifted their teaching model. We've continued to hold programs and services. Our building may be empty right now, but we have been far from dormant. I think the pandemic may have actually emphasized our need for Kihila. Now, Maya Angelou once said, try to be a rainbow in someone's cloud. We're trying. So it was a great season in Exodus, right now in the book of Exodus. I invite you to stay tuned for more exciting episodes. And since we finished this book of Torah, we can say, Chazak, Chazak, v'nit chazek. Be strong, and let us be strengthened. Shabbat Shalom.